So let's move to this. Certain brands have started to pull their advertising from Facebook in an activist campaign to force the social network to counteract hate speech on its platform. The Stop Hate for Profit campaign, which started just last week, is spearheaded by a coalition of organizations, including the NAACP, the Anti-Defamation League, Common Sense, and several other civil rights groups, who say Facebook is not doing enough to keep hate speech off its platforms. As a result, activists have been targeting major advertisers, asking them to support the movement. Among them is Ben & Jerry's, Eddie Bauer, and North Face. And I'd been wondering, Derek, about the advertisers for Facebook and Twitter as they push hate speech and push conspiracy theories. At what point, since they won't hold themselves accountable, what holds them accountable? And I would think going after the advertisers and asking them point blank if they support this type of language and lies hate on speech. These platforms. If they don't support this, why in the world would they advertise on those platforms?
You know, Facebook have had the opportunity to both benefit from hate speech. They allow racial hate groups, white supremacist groups, to buy ads. They place those ads next to brand names. We have had meeting after meeting with Facebook. Reverend Sharpton and I, we met with Zuckerberg in his home to say we have to end this. They have allowed a foreign nation to interfere with our elections. They have fanned the flames of racial hatred and altered the course of our democracy, and they refuse to do anything about it. Unfortunately for the American public, the power of Facebook is above regulations. You have one person who owns 60% of the stock. There is no governmental oversight. They have become a public utility without any oversight from anything. And so now we must stand up with corporate partners who say they denounce white supremacy, they denounce racial hatred, and stop spending ad money on that platform. They are probably one of the biggest threats to democracy that we see.
They are, Reverend Al, a threat to democracy. They are a threat to Black Americans. They're a threat to Black Americans because they will not stop the hate speech from spreading. They're a threat to senior citizens because they allow conspiracy theories and movies to be spread around on their platform. And like Derek said, they're not held liable. Congress has given them complete immunity. If you're a black man or a woman in America and violence is visited upon you because of some hate group on Facebook, then what can you do about it? It's just like the federal officer that was shot in Oakland. The person that shot him was a member of a hate group Facebook page. And not only was that bad enough, Rev, that they were allowing him on there, Facebook was actually pushing other people who weren't a part of that hate group toward that hate group, recommending that they become members of that hate group. Rev, the NAACP, the Anti-Defamation League, and of course you and other organizations have been pushing for them to get rid of the hate speech. And Zuckerberg refuses. He says he won't even touch the president's most violent rhetoric. Hell, even Twitter agreed to do that.
Absolutely. Twitter's agreed. And as Derek Johnson just said, we went to Zuckerberg's home, had a meeting for several hours. This is not just something that we jumped out there to say. We tried to reason with them, and they will not do it. The only motive one could really come with is saying that they just put their profits and making money over the safety and the bringing together of the American public, or the consumers for that matter, around the world. Therefore, you have a responsibility to say, then fine, we won't be a consumer. How did we deal with the civil rights movement and the re-energizing of it in the late 50s and the 60s that you just talked about, Joe? They had a boycott. When Rosa Parks would not give up her seat and was arrested for sitting in the front of the bus, they had the economic leverage of saying, fine, we will will not ride the bus. It is better to walk in dignity than ride in shame. I would rather watch another site with my dignity than to be shamefully watching somebody that will give credibility to a hate posting or a bigoted posting, put it next to a brand name, which in essence is giving it credibility and mainstreaming that hate and mainstreaming that bigotry. We can't support that.
And that, Ed Luce, is a problem. Facebook allows hate to be mainstreamed. Facebook allows bigotry to be mainstreamed. Facebook allows conspiracy theories that lead people to go to Palm Beach County Commission meetings and talk about masks even being the work of the devil. And this preposterous conspiracy theory movie, Plandemic, that Facebook promoted to such a degree that doctors I talk to are still having to tell their patients, it's all a lie. It's all a lie. It's all a conspiracy theory. But Mark Zuckerberg won't be responsible. And he's worth about $85 billion now for trafficking in this negligence, pushing deadly conspiracy theories that actually will end up killing Americans. It's just that plain and simple. If a car company did that, Americans could hold them liable. But not Facebook, because Congress keeps protecting the 85 billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Facebook's profitability in the last 3 years, since the whole Facebook roll with Cambridge Analytica and the Russian fake news campaign of 2016 has come to light, it's multiplied. Its profitability line shoots sharply upwards. So this isn't bad for Mark Zuckerberg's bottom line. It's actually quite good. Being defined as the new big tobacco is not bad for the bottom line. It's good for the bottom line. So hitting Facebook where it matters through advertising is clearly the only possible response. I think Mark Zuckerberg has tried very hard to virtue signal whilst profiting heavily from the dissemination of extraordinary theories. I watched the same Palm Beach County hearing that you did, Joe, yesterday. The talk of masks weren't mandated by the Bible. The pedophile rings and scientists are recommending masks. I mean, this kind of deranged nonsense is enabled by Facebook. So boycotting advertisers and deleting your account, my wife just deleted her account a couple of weeks ago, is the only possible response.
Yeah, well, that and maybe Congress.
That's what it might come
actually
to.
being responsible and holding Facebook responsible for their negligent actions that are killing Americans and that are spreading hatred and bigotry and racism. I mean, people still talk about birth of a nation. They'll be talking about Facebook. They'll be talking about the conspiracy theories. They'll be talking about the racism. They'll be talking about the sewage. They'll be talking about Facebook as a threat to American democracy unless Congress holds them accountable and lets Americans who are damaged by Facebook's actions sue Facebook in the court of law. And then guess what? Oh, my God.
Things will change.
How radical would that be? We would actually have a company that had to be driven by free market forces. Oh, my God, capitalism. Oh, my God, the invisible hand. Oh, my God. Personal responsibility. Republicans, they like personal responsibility. What about personal responsibility for Mark Zuckerberg? What about personal responsibility for Jack Dorsey? What about personal responsibility for people who make $85 billion?
Yeah.
Well, civil rights leaders in America are begging them to stop the spread of hatred.
Okay.
To stop the promotion of tweets that go immediately over to Facebook. And even if Twitter will take care of those tweets, Zuckerberg says, I'm not touching it. Ed Luce, thank you so much.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Ed. Your piece in the Financial Times is entitled "Confederate Ghosts Still Haunt America." Just, Willie, before I get to you, on your point, Joe, just to tie up something, Twitter did make changes after we reached out to them. Yes, we did speak, but they did not do enough. They keep trying to do little things here and there to shut up people who might have a platform to say something that's actually making sense about this issue. So, yes, thank you for your changes. Not enough. Thank you for your calls. Not enough.
Yeah,
Willie.
Not enough. Yeah, Willie, it is crazy.
Jack.
It is crazy what these social media companies get away with. You know, when 230 was passed back in the 90s, it was for people that just sent in comments to articles or chat boards. It was such a different thing than what we're talking about now, with a CEO who makes $85 billion and ignores the NAACP, ignores the Anti-Defamation League, ignores Reverend Sharpton, ignores the civil rights leaders of our time, saying, hey, you don't understand. You are spreading racism across America and endangering black lives. They're not doing it.
And it's not enough to periodically put out a statement when Mark Zuckerberg, and sometimes joined by his wife, says he's shocked and stunned and deeply saddened by what he's seen go on the website that he runs. You can't selectively be upset about certain things when you get heat for them and not address the underlying problem. I suspect we'll be talking much more about this. Derek.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.